What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Bet Daily, December 4th, 2022. We've got a NFL heavy show, but before we do it real quick, Aaron, going to put you on the spot. Top 4 college playoff, we got.
Oh, man, it is tough. I am going to go Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State. I will keep TCU in. I don't know what they're going to do, but that would be my vote.
Going to be interesting to see if it's TCU or if it's Alabama in that last spot. There's going to be a lot of financial reasons to put Bama there, though. I mean, imagine if it's Georgia, Bama, Michigan, Ohio State. That would be gangbusters for advertisers and for the series.
It would be, and I get it. It's going to be a tough decision. I really just feel, and again, this is like by Alabama standards I'm talking about here. I just don't feel like they're as good as they've been or good for a Bama team. I mean, I don't know. Like they've really squeaked out some close wins. I know they've had some unlucky losses as well. I just don't feel like they deserve to be in it this year, but I could not really argue if they do put them in. It's kind of one of those things. We really need a 2-team playoff this year, right? I mean,
yeah, it's clear who's the best.
Yeah.
It's interesting. The Big 12 for years got ripped apart for not having a title game. And now it could be a title game that cost them a team. And we could have 2 teams who did not play this weekend, got byes, and made it to the Final Four. So interesting development there as well.
It is, and I think that's something to be said, though. You know, you're undefeated going into that game. You lose in overtime. Should we really punish them? Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough.
All right, let's head over to the NFL. We got a full slate of games. Actually, a really fun Sunday today, too. We'll kick it off here in Minnesota. The New York Jets. I don't know. Did you see the Jets, what they showed up in, the offense?
No.
So the entire New York Jets offense showed up in Mighty Ducks jerseys. Not Anaheim Mighty Ducks, but the actual Mighty Ducks, which, if you remember, was originally set in Minnesota. So you got a Goldberg, you got a Conway, you got a Julie the Cat. Everybody, I thought that was a phenomenal move there by the offense.
I am going to pick the Jets now. Period. End of discussion. Jets for me in this game.
This is an interesting line as well. It's been 3 all week. Minnesota -3, -110 all week. Wake up this morning and a battle is going on. You've got a lot of sharp money coming in on the Jets +3. You could have bet it all week. They waited till Sunday morning, bet it +3. But the minute it gets to 2.5, it snaps right back up to 3 again. So it seems like it's going to close somewhere in that 275 range where you can get, +100 on the Vikings -3. I don't believe in Mike White, much less Mike White on the road here. People forgot he was awful after that first game last year once there was tape on him. What do you think here are the Jets' chances to go in and pull off the upset?
Yeah, I mean, to get serious about this game, I am with the Vikings in this one as well. I'm with you. I don't think the Jets are I don't know. I'm just not sold on them. They are 4-1 on the road, and that's very tough to do in the NFL. The Vikings, though, I think they're just the better team. I'm with you. I'm not sold on that quarterback situation at all in New York. You are getting 3 with them. That's good. I mean, NFL, 3 points is a big thing, but end of the day, I'm going to lean with the Vikings in this one.
Yeah, I played the Vikings. If I can catch a 2.5 at some point, I will probably put a decent sized bet in on Minnesota. We'll see. Right now, it's 3 even almost everywhere. -3 +100 for Minnesota there. All right, let's head to Hotlanta here. And Atlanta was hot at the start of the year. Started off, I think it was 6-0 ATS. They're now like 1-6 in their last 7. So as soon as there's some tape that came out on this offense, all of a sudden we're seeing teams shut them down. Their running game isn't as effective. We saw them lose last week to Washington. They had an awful loss at Carolina on a Thursday night. Now Pittsburgh comes in, and Pittsburgh's key here is Watt on the defensive side. Top 5 DVOA defense with him in, number 30th DVOA with him out. Obviously, he's playing today. This line's flipped from Atlanta -1 to Pittsburgh -1. Who do you like here, Aaron?
This has been a tough one for me all week. I took the Falcons. I'm not sold on the Steelers. They did pick up a nice win last week, but I don't know. It's like, what are the Colts really? Is it that nice of a win? I'm not sure. I think going on the road again, I'm going to take the Falcons to get it done. It's a much bigger game for the Falcons than it is for the Steelers, right? I mean, the Steelers aren't officially dead, but they're pretty much dead. The Falcons should be, right? But they play in such a horrible division that if they win this game and they get a little luck if Tampa loses, then all of a sudden the Falcons are right back in first. So I'm going to take the Falcons to win. This is a really, I mean, 1 point, one way or the other is the right way to put this. This is a toss-up game, in my opinion.
Not so fast, my friend. Give me Pittsburgh. I'm not confident in it, but give me Pittsburgh. This Falcons team just looks like they're a mess right now, and they can't be scoring 13 points with that defense and expect to win many games. And that's where they've been landing in that low teens, and that's just it's not enough to get it done when your defense is not very good in Atlanta. So I didn't actually bet the game, but if I did, I would be playing the Pittsburgh Steelers here. We'll see how that one plays out. Let's head to Houston. Interesting game in Houston. I don't say that very often here. Deshaun Watson returning, and of course the NFL sets it up so he returns against his former team, has not played meaningful snaps in almost 2 full calendar years. I mean, so it's what do you expect from Deshaun Watson today, and what is this Cleveland offense going to look like?
Oh man, isn't that the $1 million question? I like the Browns in this game because it's the Texans, and I think you just fade the Texans pretty much every game. What to expect from Deshaun, though? I think he will play pretty well, but you got to think there's going to be a little bit of rust. You got to think the communication between him and the receivers might be a problem, at least early in the game. I don't expect the Browns to just jump out and look like gangbusters today, but I still think Deshaun Watson off a 2-year layoff, as we would call it in horse racing terms, is still better than Jacoby Brissett. So I think they'll look better. We've seen quarterbacks that aren't very good be okay in Cleveland because of the other things they've got going on with the run game there. I think that'll help him having a guy like Nick Chubb back there, Hunt obviously as well. I think he'll play a decent game. I don't expect an unbelievable game out of him, but I think the Browns are going to cover, and I think he'll play good enough for them to get the job done.
I didn't play a side here. This was 7 all week. It's moved to 8 now this morning, so it's tough to take it. I think you could tease this down if you wanted to. The total's interesting to me, Aaron. Opened at 42.5. It's up to 46.5 now. Specifically the rust issue. I mean, there's 2 ways this game goes, right? Either Cleveland blows them out and shuts it down, or Deshaun's rusty early and this game is close, but you don't expect Houston to get into the 20s really here. I kind of like the under on that 46.5. You don't see very many Houston games going to 47. And on top of that, the rust issue, I think, is something that you have to think about with Deshaun. Specifically, the first half under 23, I think, is a very good play as well, because I think that's the half you really see the difference if you do in Cleveland's offense.
It's a tough situation because the Texans are just abysmal in pretty much every category, but especially quarterback and offensively. But the Browns aren't very good defensively either. I think, though, they'll be able to stop a team like the Texans. So, yeah, give me the Browns. Give me that under. I'm with you on that. I feel like if this thing goes over, it means the Browns got in the 30s.
I think it would take a lot of Browns scoring for it to be able to go over. Only 2 Texans games all year have gotten to 46.5. That was Chargers Texans, which I would say is a better offense and just as bad of a defense. And Raiders, which scored 38 and gave up 20. So only 2 times all year we've gone over a 46.5 total with this Texans team. I don't think this is going to be the third, but we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be interesting to see what that is like in Houston as well, and the reaction to Deshaun as he takes the field. All right, let's head over to Chicago now. Green Bay heading into Chicago, laying 4. I'm shocked this is Aaron Rodgers versus Justin Fields. I don't think either should be on the field, but here we are. We're risking our franchise quarterback who's injured for Chicago. We've got Aaron Rodgers essentially playing dead with a broken thumb for Green Bay. Green Bay, this has been between 3.5 and 4.5 all week. Right now we're sitting on -4 for Green Bay. Chicago has 3 major players out of their secondary. I think that does matter there. They're missing a safety and 2 cornerbacks. Aaron, who do you like here?
I'm kind of like, I'm picking Green Bay. I'm not touching this game one way or the other. Let's pretend that those guys were both healthy. Well, how in the hell, like, what's going to happen anyway, right? Like, it would have been like, if you don't have those question marks, it's like, I don't know what's going on here in this game. These 2 teams are abysmal. You never know what they're going to do week to week. Now you got this quarterback situation. What if Rodgers goes out and plays a series and says, forget this. Like, I can't, I can't even grip the ball. And same with Justin Fields. There's too much for me to guess on to play it. If you're going to make me pick it, I will take the Packers because they just seem to own the Bears. But I'm staying away from this.
If Fields wasn't in, I was going to put a big Packers bet in. If it was anyone but Fields for laying less than a touchdown, because even if Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, at least I have Jordan Love, who I know is a comparable backup. On the Chicago side, it's Justin Fields and then just a train wreck at quarterback. I think Simeon's out now, so it would have been the guy from Buffalo who threw like 10 picks in 2 games. So the quarterback position for them is a real struggle. With Justin Fields in, I think it's interesting. If he gets hurt in game, I am probably going to be betting Green Bay immediately because that I think is a way to try and take advantage of this one. Let's go to the game of the day now. One that I have not bet, and I would probably bet against my Dolphins if I did. Miami heading into San Francisco, catching 4.5 points, missing both of their starting tackles, which I think is really very important in this spot. Facing San Francisco, who was starting to get it going, started to get it rolling, shut out New Orleans last week, dominated Arizona the week before. Who you got here? And I think this is probably there's two marquee games of the day. This is one of the two. The other we'll talk about is it's your best bet.
I picked the 49ers to win. 4.5 is a decent amount of points. I'm going to side with the Niners, but with a pause, because remember when the Chiefs went in there and absolutely just torched that defense? I'm not saying Tua is Mahomes, but Tua's got the weapons that can torch this defense if they don't improve off of what they showed against the Chiefs. You still got Tyreek Hill. You still got Waddle, Gesicki. I mean, you've got guys that are going to cause them trouble. I think Tua's good enough to get them the ball. So I think, though, the 49ers have kind of come on since then. They've kind of started to gel with their new players since then. So I'll lean the 49ers, but I would not be shocked if the Dolphins have success. I know a lot of people are like, oh, the Dolphins are going to shut down today. I didn't see that great of a defense when they faced a similar style offense against the Chiefs.
And one counterpoint I'd say on that Chiefs game, that was their first game home after back-to-back games on the East Coast, which is somewhere that they've traditionally struggled the last couple of years after making that trip. The Dolphins' injuries on the offensive line scare me. If the Dolphins were fully healthy, I would take the 4.5. I would also bet the over in this game. If one of those two offensive linemen happen to be healthy, I'm worried they're just going to struggle to move the football. Tua's going to have to get rid of it quickly, and that run game is probably not going to be very effective. So lots of quick passes, which they're very good at. And they're going to be a fun coaching matchup as well. I mean, Mike McDaniel is a Kyle Shanahan descendant, essentially. So you've got the head coach or the mentor versus the mentee here. And specifically, Mike McDonald he went to Yale. He's a chess type guy, tries to galaxy brain everything. I wouldn't be shocked if he has new wrinkles specifically for this game to go against this Shanahan defense, where Shanahan will know the play in certain receiver sets. He'll run different plays out of those exact same receiver sets just to try and mess with them.
That aspect of it is fascinating today, because he is quickly becoming, like you said, he's the next big coach type of thing. Facing that old team, I don't know. There's going to be a lot of interesting things going on in that game from a coaching perspective too. You're right. I mean, we've got some big ones. That I don't think there's anyone bigger than that one though. That is going to be a very interesting chess match, like you said.
If you have an extra 10 minutes at some point today, go to YouTube and watch the Mike McDaniels Tua in-game comments back and forth. It's hilarious. There was another one that came up with Mike McDaniel trolling Tua for having shitty form in high school and literally just going off on him before the game and because I guess Tua Googled Mike McDaniel and started making fun of him from YouTube videos as well. So really unique relationship between those two players. Fun to see them kind of both turn some corners there and get it going. All right, let's head to the race of the day here, Aaron. Let's go to Del Mar, where we've got I think it's a $500,000 carryover into a mandatory pick six payout. So monster pool today, probably going to get around $3 million for the pick six, just 20 cents over at Del Mar. So make sure you get involved there. Feature is going to be the matriarch, grade 1, going a mile on the turf. And our old friend Regal Glory's in here, Aaron. And she was on a roll, won 4 straight earlier this year. Looked like she had a shot at winning the turf mile at the Breeders' Cup. The wheels have fallen off. I don't know how else to put it there, but 8-5 seems like a reasonable favorite, especially with Wakanaka, who's out of this race because of the issue over at Churchill Downs. Did you go with Regal Glory on top, or you're going to try and fade her in the spot?
Regal Glory for me. Yes, the wheels have come off, but they've come off against very, very good horses. I mean, extremely good. Tried to take on Boys, got second, got beat by Casa Creed going a mile at Saratoga. Well, he's really good going a mile, got beat by the freaking Italian horse, the stablemate. Well, that horse, it took a track record to beat her at the Breeders' Cup in her next start. And then Regal Glory was at the Breeders' Cup herself and got beat 5 lengths to Modern Games. I mean, any of those horses would be big, big favorites against this field. I think Wakanaka was the biggest challenge. And with her out, I really like Regal Glory. Spoiler alert, I'm singling Regal Glory today.
Ooh, I'm not singling. I'm going too deep. I'm going to use Regal Glory. But I really like the 5-horse here, Hamwood Flyer. Phil D'Amato, Mike Smith up. This horse just keeps getting better and better, and there's no speed in here. And you look at that last race, and we talk about, how does the pace set up? It's Hamwood Flyers a leader, right? I think we can definitely agree on that. Your most likely presser is Regal Glory. That I think is a negative for Regal Glory. And that last race going a mile goes 22-4, 45-2, 108-4, 133-1. That's tough to close into. It's hard to make up any ground when someone's going that quickly out front and is able to sustain it for a mile. Now you're getting second off a layoff. D'Amato's been on fire in any graded stakes, really any turf race over there at Del Mar or Santa Anita the last year or so. I think Hamwood Flyer has a shot to pull the upset here. I'm interested to see what the price is going to be because I don't think I'm getting 5-1.
I don't think you are either. I think it's going to be interesting to see with that horse as well. That is another one that is scary, especially with the 7-horse scratch. It's just East Coast versus West Coast, and on the turf, that's always a question mark. But you're right. This horse is, located on the West Coast, but, was coming in for overseas. And also Phil D'Amato, he's pretty much just on fire. So how that horse runs is going to be really interesting. Really, 2 out of her 3 starts were really, really good.
Going to need to improve to get the job done, but hopefully the pace setup allows her to get that take that step forward and be able to make a move and get it done. I do think Regal Glory is tough today, but I think Hamwood Flyer has a real shot of taking that field gate to wire. All right, let's jump into the best bets of the day here before we sign off. We'll start out with Papa Dude, not able to join us, but still sending one in here. I'll talk about the first half of this. You can talk about the second, Aaron. The Lions laying 1 against Jacksonville today. Lions actually getting their number 12 draft pick back in the lineup. I think it's Jamin Williams from Alabama was one of the stars there as a wide receiver. He's going to play today for the first time. Swift is healthy. They have I would say, a better spot here, more rest coming in against a Jacksonville team where Etienne is going to play, but it's a little beaten up. Obviously coming off a huge win in Baltimore with that 25-24 victory for Jacksonville. If they had lost that game, this is probably Lions minus 2.5 or 3. The fact that they won it really made that flip. I think the Lions is a good side here. I went back and forth between this game. I didn't bet it personally, but if I did, I would be on the Lions here.
Yeah, I like the Lions, but I also know it's the Lions, so we'll see what happens with this game.
And it's Jacksonville, so it's 2 teams that don't like to win.
It's the battle of the big cats, and then they should really be small cats because you're right, they do not like to win. Winnipeg, okay, look, logically, Winnipeg should kill the Ducks, but logic's kind of been out the window with the NHL in these heavy favorites the last couple games. Quick story, I went 12-1 last night in the NHL. My one loss. The Rangers, who I used in a parlay, got beat 5-2 to Chicago. Winnipeg, I played 2 nights ago in a night where I only lost like 1 or 2 games, and Winnipeg got smoked to a team they should have beat. They should bounce back though today. They should.
Yeah, that is a good spot. The Ducks suck. Winnipeg's good. They want to get a W off that bad loss. They should be pretty motivated. So should be a pretty good spot there. All right, I'll go with my best bet next here. I'm going to take the Washington Commanders laying the 2.5 on the road against the New York Giants. This is just a tale of 2 teams going in different directions. The Giants can't catch a break, man. It's just injury after injury on the offensive line. They're out 4 starters now. They're down 1 second string. On top of that, they have an illness that went through the entire team this year. So they had 3 wide receivers who were all questionable with illness coming into this game. So Slayton is playing. But you got to think, if you've been sick with the flu all week and the entire team has had it, that's not a great thing going into a football game in a cold outdoor setting on a Sunday. On top of that, look, it's like Slayton and Saquon Barkley, and that's it with no offensive line. Very hard to move the ball there. I was hoping Chase Young would play. He is out today, so he should be back for his first game next week. This Washington defense still not bad at all. Just faced the Falcons, which have a similar run-forward style offense. So I think there's a good setup for Washington, who, by the way, is sneaky involved in this division race now. They've got the Giants here, then a bye, then the Giants again. That's the other part of this that I really like. They are going to be able to focus on the Giants for 3 weeks. They don't have to worry about prepping for anybody else because all they have is Giants by Giants, 2 division games that make a huge difference on their season. They play hard for Taylor Heineke. I think Washington wins this game actually pretty easily today. The Giants are going in the wrong direction. It sucks. I like them preseason. We bet they're over. We bet them to win the division. It was going well until it wasn't. And smoke and mirrors only work so long before it's tough to rebound from it.
I would venture to say that these 2 teams are 2 of the best coached teams in the NFL. Would you agree with that?
I would say that the Giants are the best coached, and Washington's coach does a wonderful job of getting the most out of his team. I don't necessarily think the coaching is great. I think the motivation is great for Ron Rivera.
Fair. That's fair. They do squeeze every ounce of talent out of that roster.
Yeah.
So you're right. That was a good way to kind of break that down. I would agree. Yeah. But listen, every time I watch them, I go, God, they really shouldn't be this like 7-5 or whatever they are now, and they are. So it's crazy.
Yeah. They just kind of keep getting it done.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's jump over to your best bet of the day, which also happens to probably be the marquee game of the day. The Kansas City Chiefs headed into Cincinnati. The Bengals here. It sounds like we're going to see Chase Young, but he will be on a pitch count. He's not going to play the full game, but he'll play some snaps. Be interesting to see where they use him with him coming back. You like the Chiefs laying the 2 today. Tell me why.
Well, like I said, I am a little bit cursed the last couple of days because I went 12-1 in hockey and the one loss was in my parlay yesterday. So mad. But yeah, I'm doing a little bit of what you guys tried to do with USC and it was successful on Friday. Kind of do a little reverse jinx here and kind of jinx the Chiefs with picking them. But I will say this. To me, all the motivation is on the side of the Chiefs in this game. They got beat by this team and got knocked out last year. I think the Chiefs are a better team. I am still a little bit worried about the injury situations there in Cincinnati. Joe Mixon's banged up. You already talked about Jamar Chase is banged up. We'll see what happens here. I think the Chiefs are ready. I think the Chiefs are laying for them. I think the motivation is, like I said, with the Chiefs, they still need to keep winning. It's so important to get that number 1 seed. So I'm going to go Chiefs -2 here. I think they get the job done. I think they get revenge. They're playing really well. I think they get it done today.
It's a big game for them. 9-2 right now. You've got Buffalo at 9-3, Miami at 8-3. Both have a shot at running them down here if they lose this game. So I think the Chiefs definitely want to get the job done. They want to be playing at Arrowhead again in that conference title game. We know how much that meant last year for them. I get the Bengals thing. People love the Bengals, man. I get the Bengals thing, but the Chiefs are just better. And so really it's a question of can they show out and show up? And I, like you, I think that they will today simply because this is a revenge game for them. They want to get back for what happened last year in the AFC title game and make sure that AFC title game is once again there in Arrowhead.
Absolutely. And that's the big key. And they know Buffalo's sitting right there. By the way, breaking news, TCU is the number 3 seed. They will play Michigan. We have not unveiled 4. So TCU stays in. They are number 3. I'm shocked they're number 3. So TCU, Michigan, and then Georgia, obviously number 1, and they're getting ready to announce number 4.
I would be willing to wager a lot of money it's Ohio State. And that the reason why TCU is 3 is they didn't want Michigan, Ohio State in that side.
I 100%, agree. I think that's exactly what it is. Like I said, they're keep yakking. They're not going to announce 4, but I think you're right. I think with TCU at 3, it clearly tells you Ohio State's going to be 4. You're going to take a 1-loss Ohio State over a 2-loss Alabama.
Yep. Yeah, I thought there was more of a debate between TCU and Bama if you really got down to it. But the strength of schedule for TCU, obviously a good thing, although I'm not sure how strong that schedule actually is because I'm not sure how good the Big 12 actually is. But hey, I could take that shot at Ohio State too, whose big win was at Penn State, who's not very good. So and Notre Dame, and it's like, okay, that's great, but now we'll see what happens. I think we both agree this is Georgia's to lose. I mean, they are clearly the best team in the nation, right?
Oh my God, yes. Michigan might be able to give them a game, but I don't think so. I think Georgia is just unbelievable. And there it is, breaking news: Ohio State number 4. So you get Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, TCU. But I'm with you. It's Georgia's to lose. They absolutely dominated LSU. They're for real. They've dominated almost everybody except for your Missouri Tigers, Somich. They almost beat them.
Yeah, we're dangerous. Although we turned down a bowl game. I guess who was it against?
Kansas.
Yeah, we turned down a bowl game against Kansas because apparently we're soft. But who knew? Anyway, thank you very much for joining us for Dudes Who Bet Daily. We will be back on Wednesday, noon Eastern, same time, same place, talking sports and horse racing here. Let me pull up the graphic real quick. I got Gulfstream on because I'm in a tournament over there. Here's the best bets for today. We got Papa Dude taking the Lions -1 and the Jets +158 when you parlay the 2 together on the money line. Aaron taking the Chiefs -2. I'm going to go Commanders -2.5. 5-7 for the week, down $206. The year down $178. Hopefully get back in the positive here to kick off the new week on Wednesday. Thank you very much for joining us again. Good luck, everybody, with all your sports and horse racing wagers.